Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. It is once again roughly 3 a.m. A little early. Today we are, well, read the title. We're either creating something here that can be very useful in helping people, or we're on a road to nowhere. Or, if Kobe wants to chime in again, we're probably creating a nerve agent. We're not. On the record. No. But, nobody else has thought of this. I promise. This is nuts. This is insane. I have here a notebook. It's from November and December of 2024, which were, including the 3 months after that period and the 3 months before that period, the most utterly insane months of my life. So I'm doing the difficult task of extracting anything useful from these notes that there is, which I think there is, and continuing the research. If you're a researcher and you do this is what you do, you're going to have 1,000,001 problems with this, I'm sure. And don't not judge it. I want to get better. I do have an interest in this, but I never went to college. I have no idea what proper research looks like, really. But I'm going to do my best and hope that that's good enough. I've always had an interest in neuroscience, I think, in science, in body science and medicine in general. I love the insignia, the image of snakes wrapped around a pole. I always think of wisdom when I look at that image. And what we want here is a snake that's wrapped around a pole, so and it's charmed or whatever, so it knows when to strike. Right? You want the snake to strike a disease, or an ailment, and not harm the person. A snake that's not wrapped around a pole is just going to eat everything and bite people, and nobody wants that. It's my hope that if this is efficacious in any way, what happens with this line of research and reasoning can help people not only in the realm of mild TBI. I'll touch on the title in a minute. I know it's diffuse axonal injury is commonly used to, well, if you're smart, you know. It is my hope that I can help people not only in that realm, but outside of that realm, because, a really good idea is applicable to numerous areas. One more thing before we begin. If you are suffering from post-concussion syndrome, I'm not talking down to you. I am going to talk more slowly. you will get back to where you want to be. Okay? All that we're doing here is highly speculative and potentially has no real basis. Not to be alarmed. There is a study that I found 7 days-ish after it came out in the summer of 21. Hi, Kobe. The title is, and I'll link this maybe, or maybe not, because I couldn't add a description in the last video I made. I'm not sure why. Psilocybin induces rapid and persistent growth of dendritic spines in frontal cortex in vivo. The results are very interesting. The first author listed is Lingjiao Xiao. He is in the Department of Psychiatry at Yale. He's a very credible source here. I'm not sure how many times this has been replicated, to what level of success, but this has been cited numerous times. The results, the figure I see now when I look up this article, and thank God there are lots of articles on this article, is 10%. The figure I saw back then was 10 to 20%. And looking through the results, it seems like there's a range of between 5 and 20%. What those percentage points are pointing to is in layer 5 of the prefrontal cortex in mice, which that's a good model. I know it's a mouse, but it's a good model. We share about 90% of our genome with mice, or a little more. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the serotonin system in mice is very similar to that of the serotonin system in humans. I might be wrong about that, though. So 10 to 20% increase in dendritic spine connections in vivo, meaning in a living being, in mice. That's very significant. 10 to 20% increase upon administration, or after administration of psilocybin. Now this holds a day out and a month out. I don't know if they went further than that, but this is a lasting thing. The other interesting thing here is that those connections, the new ones, are about 10% denser or thicker or stronger than the pre-existing connections. So that's very interesting as well. So you want to do this legally, because psilocybin is not legal everywhere. But it's very interesting. And if you're in post-concussion syndrome, there are two types of serotonin receptors that I want you to try and remember. Let this be your elbow apple saddle bubble test. Remember these two: 5-HT1A and 5-HT2A. These are two types of serotonin receptors, and they form two kind of systems. I'll abbreviate them to 1A and 2A while I'm talking about this. So with the 1A system, you're looking at a system that's concerned with dampening stress, dealing with stress by compensating for it, and just kind of down-regulating. And I don't know if it's kind of the higher order freeze response, perhaps. It's necessary, but it should be the emissary, not the master, in my opinion. Is the 2A receptor system, and that's going to be concerned with adapting to stress in positive and creative ways, and increasing cognitive flexibility, and kind of expansion. Now that system is what's going to be activated by psilocybin. I recommend it. It's legal in certain places in Massachusetts where I am, Cambridge, I think, and somewhere else. Colorado, I believe, and then there are other places in the U.S. where it's legalized, and then Amsterdam. So if all else fails, you can just take a trip to Amsterdam. I'm sure it's a lovely place, and they make it in little truffles. Very interesting. Okay, so that aside, let's get down to it. Breath. It's Shabbat, but I'll let you figure it out. So I'm gonna kind of, it's not a test, but we're gonna do some old school stuff they don't teach in Hebrew school. This is probably the greatest research anyone has ever done. I'm amazing for having done it. Okay. Don't be stupid with your sin offerings. But don't be a mouse either. You might wind up in some sort of weird labyrinth test thing. Alright, anyway. The first real note in here, these can do whatever they want, I'm not going to fix them, is a disease known as half cured. Okay, that's the premise that I base this entire thing on. Are we learning more about what MTBI is? Yes. Do we have a good handle on it? We're getting there. Yeah. It's a lot better than it was in 2018, when my interest in this was peaked. When I fell down a mountain and my ontological experience was greatly altered. Someday I'll ski again. I can't get into it anymore. No. Pussy. Do it. A disease known as half cured. So the title of this, I said I wasn't gonna, but it's fine. Involves diffuse axonal injury. Now, I want to get into this a little bit. When you Google search diffuse axonal injury now, you're told that diffuse axonal injury, by basically every article, is a very serious condition, which very often, leads to a vegetative state, a coma. That's not the way it was when I became interested in all of this. You need to think of it as a gradient, right? So, I mean, yeah, there's the very severe end, but also concussions generally aren't going to kill that many brain cells. But what they are going to do, which I think is, well, there are two things that I think are most important. One, they stretch or sometimes shear, and it's often called a shear injury, axons, which are the there's the brain cell here, and then it sends a signal down here, and that's called an axon. And then at the other end of the axon, as we were just talking about, on the other side of the synapse, which is the point of connection, there's a dendrite, which then leads directly into another brain cell. So, and concussion is going to stretch those, shear them, kind of just disrupt the flow of information through axons. Which is why you would want to look at psilocybin, because it's going to increase connection significantly. Where was I going with that? Give me a minute, sorry. So we would be looking at that, and then we would also be looking at I don't have any notes on this up. I don't know why I'm looking over there. The autoimmune response, which I touch on in these notes, and I think is very important, particularly in people with, prolonged experiences with symptoms. Now, concussions trigger autoimmune response. The body starts attacking itself. That needs to be looked at as well. Yeah. Okay. So, disease known as half cured. And then I write daughter cell. I'm not sure why. I guess it was turning me on at the time. And then it looks like I ran through some kind of scientific experiment. I was trying very hard to get down the scientific method at the time. So the substance is clear. Okay, ask a question. What is it? Well, we can observe. We can smell it. It smells spicy. I remember this. I had like chicken wings or something. Could it be identified by looking in the bag? Yes, I hypothesized that it could. Do a hypothesis. So then we're going to experiment. Look in the bag. Result. I see sauce. Conclusion. Sauce. Exclamation point times 2. Okay, not much on that page. Well, it is interesting. Weren't neural networks supposed to lead intelligent machines? Well, neural networks do lead intelligent machines. I have an instance of ChatGPT up. That's what's happening. Fascinating how much heart this question has. I don't know. Okay. Don't do things because they're easy. Do things because they're convoluted and need core. I sincerely agree with that. That's what we're doing here. I'd be proud. 21-year-old me would be proud. If he was, Brains are not ones and zeros. Agreed. So then I have artificial neurons, brain cell structure, and 2.5 dimensions. What I meant by 2.5 dimensions, I don't know, but I think there was something interesting there. One has a central processor, one has no central processor. Or control. One has to be perfect to work, one is flexible and tolerant of failure. Sounds like some sort of Zen proverb. It's very interesting. When are we going to get to the good stuff? Artificial neurons are not mathematical functions. I was quoting an article that said artificial neurons are mathematical functions. Solve problems by processing information and performing mathematical calculations. So we have a loop here. If you know, you know. Okay. Here we are. I'll never forget the time I saw someone crush up a bunch of Smarties and snort them. I'm not going to try that. but it was interesting to watch. So, this is called a loop. A loop is neurological substrata that repeats itself. Where you can get into trouble, though, is words and ideas attach themselves to loops. Now on this one, what I'm attempting to do is break the loop. We're going to read through the loop and see if that's true. If I successfully did that. Now if you do this, the end result should not be losing your shit. Start. Sex after dinner on New Year's Eve. Next part. The talk may start with me, but it leads inevitably to another. Next. Into one. Nay. Apples. Freedom. Blessed. Virgin. Insane. Wow. Good. Bowie. God. I found God in rock and roll. Devil's music. Curse. Fuck. Heart with cross inside. The attempt to break the loop is at the bottom. It is all is good, infinity symbol. We start with sex after dinner on New Year's Eve, and we end with a heart with a cross inside of it. So undoubtedly it would return to sex after dinner on New Year's Eve. Everything that happens in between is just fun. The beginning is sexual liberation, and the end is condemnation of that sexual liberation. And this runs on loop. I suppose the ultimate breaking of the loop would be the destruction of the Roman Catholic See. That would be the ultimate breaking of the loop. I usually go for the ultimate thing. Alright. So I drew a brain cell. Concussions are autoimmune diseases. Kind of a total statement. I was very, very hyper-focusable at the time. But it's true, concussions involve autoimmune disease. I have a whole line of reasoning here, and this is kind of another loop, but I understood the assignment, and this is not really a loop. Refine. Concussions trigger autoimmune response. Why? We don't know. We know that it does, though. What is autoimmune response? It's the body attacking itself. You think you're bad because your body was attacking itself. Okay, so I'm doing a little, psychoanalysis on myself there. It's over. And now the neurons have to be replaced. Love is the answer. It was never me, I am. There is an infinite amount to discover. You can smell. Why? There's always more to discover. Back to there. It is always an infinite amount to discover. I didn't even make that connection there. Come on. You can smell. So that runs on loop. Why? Because there's no end to the story. Forever, always, infinite love, peace, harmony, unity. And then, Starmen. I made a video on angels yesterday. Yeah, I'm talking about the same thing there. It's interesting. 2.5 dimensions. Lightbox. What is a lightbox? And I wrote 2 definitions of lightbox. One is used to look at bacterial growth in PCR plates. And the other is lightbox therapy is used to treat physiological disorders that disrupt circadian rhythm. Very interesting. Under that latter description, I wrote, the devil hates goodness. The devil will steal goodness if he can. Lightbox therapy is used for people under duress. So, I'm trying to kill like 20 million birds at once here. And I've got like 2 stones. So this is very stretching myself to beyond my absolute limit here. Used to look at bacterial growth PCR plates. So it's typically made of polypropylene and has an array of wells, usually 96 to 384, where each well holds a small volume of the reaction mixture. The wells are managed in an alphanumeric system of rows and columns, designed for high temps. Okay, so good to know. I think I was getting ready to do some sort of experiment there. We're about to get to the good part here. I mean, not the good part, but this is all fun. But Laureth-13. Okay. Here's where the legitimacy gets interesting. All of this research is based around a good hunch. Nothing more. Just a hunch. That potentially, this chemical, which, according to Kobe, could be used to make a nerve agent. Which is not what I'm trying to do. Nobody do this. Until we get our ducks in a row, which is probably going to take another decade and a half. Laureth-13 is a non-ionic surfactant, emulsifier, and solubilizer. Now, I tried to hammer what those meant into my brain, and it didn't really stick, but I get the essence. We can extract it from barbasol. Helps water and oil to mix nicely together. That might be important. Polyoxyether. Chemistry is not my strong suit, so I can only really do chemistry if there's like a broader idea involved. But that's fine. We got people for that. Oh, I wrote the definitions. So surfactant, reduce tension between 2 substances. Emulsifier, mixes liquids that normally don't mix. Solubilizer, and I circled this one. Say cosmetic? A cosmetic ingredient that blends oils. Okay. Not important there. Oh, this is a pretty page of notes. Look at this. Look how pretty that is. All right, 6 layers of the cortex. So there's 6 layers of the cortex. The deeper layers are going to be concerned with more base level processing, and then you need your higher reasoning as you expand out. The study that I was pointing to earlier, psilocybin induces rapid and persistent growth of dendritic spines in the frontal cortex in vivo. That's done on layer 5 pyramidal neurons. So those are very high level neurons. I don't know much deeper than that, but they're very high level. Layer 6. Layer 6. So I was interested in layer 6 here. Polymorphic, so it has multiple forms of cells down or up in layer 6. Wait. I just got shot. Layer 1, I assume, would be the deepest layer. But it's possible that layer 6 is the deepest layer. Wait, hang on. Let's see if I can figure it out. Multiple forms of cells. Existing in multiple forms. It carries axons to other areas. This is layer 6 then. Really? There are genetic variations between layer 6. That is important. That is important. We'll get back to that. Layers of the cortex map. Excuse me. Oh yes. Okay, I'm glad I looked this up. Layer 6 is the deepest layer. Therefore, what I just said about layer 5 being the higher level functioning thing, it's not true. No, layer 5 is going to be concerned with more base things. Really glad I looked that up. And I didn't know that when I was making it. I was assuming that layer 6 was the outer layer. Okay, good to know. GTK, polymorphic, so multiple forms of cells, but then where it gets really interesting is this is PRDM16. This will be my first use of ChatGPT here. So PRDM16, I believe, is a genetic factor. So let's see, genetic factor. Brain. Forgive my lack of technical language. PRDM16 is a transcription factor, a gene regulator that helps determine how cells develop, specialize, and maintain identity. So, where I was interested in it with it is like that mess that just came out of my mouth. It's a transcription factor that can somehow stimulate the carrying of neurons to the outer layers of the cortex. So we're in layer 6 right now. We're in the deepest layer of the cortex. And somehow this transcription factor can stimulate the carrying of cells to the outer layer. I suppose you would call this obvious, and you would. That could be very useful in brain injury. If we could figure out a way to stimulate this, I don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't know, stimulate a transcription factor. I don't know what I'm talking about. But if we could figure out how we could utilize this to get brain cells into the outer layers and repair damage, that could be very useful. It doesn't look like what you would need, though. Well, here's a good question to ask. What is the rate of neurogenesis in layer 6 of the cortex? So it's primarily during early embryonic development. Okay. In adulthood. In the adult neocortex, stable, ongoing neurogenesis is extremely limited. And layer 6 neurons are generally not replaced. This is unlike the hippocampus, where neurogenesis happens into adulthood. and olfactory-related regions. Didn't know that in some mammals. So, we're already hitting a wall here. We got this transcription factor, which is somehow implicated in bringing cells into the outer layers of the cortex. But there are no new cells to bring to the outer layer of the cortex, are there? I just had an idea, but I don't think it's good. I'm going to kind of think through it, though, and see where it goes. Well, I suppose then, I'm going to take some new notes. I'll come back to this. This set of notes ends in Nazism and the destruction of the Catholic Church. So, I got a little off track. But we'll go through those too, because it's fun. Now, PRDM16. There's a transcription factor which is implicated in the carrying of neurons to the outer layers of the cortex. Not useful if there are no cells to carry. I haven't written with a pen in so long, it's going to take a minute. If no new cells. So then the question you would ask is, what is stimulating neurogenesis in the hippocampus? Okay. Good. Come back to that. Remember. All right. Interesting thought. This is an interesting thought I had here. And then I made a web around it of just words, basically. They're all related, obviously. But, there are no visible boundary lines separating different types of thought and different types of sensory information. Very interesting thought. So basically, words are great. And some people are able to separate the words from the feeling or the underlying thought or the loop. Some people are able to separate words from the loop. That's fantastic. There are no visible boundary lines. Now, not literally visible, like you're looking at a brain and you can see. But in the mind, there are no boundary lines between different types of thought and different types of sensory information. There's an idea called embodied cognition, which I find really boring and basic, but that is really useful. Thought is not abject, or abstracted. What does abject mean? I hear it used sometimes, and it feels like every time I hear it used, it means something different. Abject, of something bad, experienced or present to the maximum degree, completely without pride or dignity, self-abasing. Yeah, see, so already there are two very different definitions, and I use neither one of them. So forget I use that word. Abstracted from the underlying, like, neurological, I don't know what you want to call it, the ineffable experience that happens inside of the mind. It can, like, words get, like, glued onto it. So that's just coming back around to loops there. I think I went into loops pretty soon here. Loops and webs. I want to check myself before I wreck myself here. Some strings of info seem to run in the shape of a Mobius strip. Why does this happen? What is a loop? Is it a divine thing? Jump to a conclusion, yes. Okay, but then we can, figure out the deets. How can different loops fit together? A loop may be a physical neuronal / neurological circuit. It may produce an image, an idea, or, in very sophisticated loops, an intuitive understanding of the nature of the cosmos. Yeah, I entirely agree with that. This is very interesting. A loop may, that held. So, that's good. A loop may be shared between persons. This or these loops may be anatomically similar or the same. So, that's delving into the realm of telepathy. I saw an interesting video that I want to watch recently, and the thumbnail said something like, telepathy is not woo-woo, it's not out there, it's just a kind of a fact of nature. I think that's a radical shift in philosophical perception. And it was a talk by a well-respected doctor, researcher at a well-respected university. I'm forgetting exactly, but let me cite it. Yeah, so Trinity College, Cambridge. The video is called The Evolution of Telepathy. It was uploaded by Rupert Sheldrake. I know that name. Why do I know that name? But anyways, it's all about telepathy. Rupert Sheldrake. So he's a British author and parapsychological researcher. Very interesting. So what you want to do, if you want to communicate with someone like that, is sync with them, and you kind of intuitively feel, the patterns that are forming inside of their minds, and you can sync with them. It's very interesting. Do I do that? Do these glasses tell you it's any of your business? I didn't think so. Alright. So. Interesting. Okay, here's where it gets off kilter. It gets off kilter here. Not before. Bible. The F happened. Okay, so why did the Stations of the Cross end in death? That is a good question. Why do the Catholic Stations of the Cross end in death? Should probably make sure I wasn't just off my rocker when I said that. What is the last Station of the Cross? Because there's a chance that I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I'm right. Not off my rocker. The 14th station is Jesus being placed in the tomb. Not the resurrection. And by the way, at the front of every Catholic church, there's a very, graven image of a dead god, supposedly, on a cross. It doesn't get much more graven than that, does it? No, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, you can argue about how language has changed and whatever, but things happen for a reason. And you should know that if you're in the realm of spirituality and talking about God. Right, you look stupid. So that's a good question to ask. What is the number of the beast? You have to be careful here. Okay. The book of Revelation is a dangerous book. So we're going to tread lightly. What is the number of the beast? Why 666? When that number belongs to one of the greatest kings who lived in the ancient time. I got pissed off about John of Patmos. It's a brick wall. Insertion. John of the Cross is not John of Patmos. I mean, that's an assumption. But John of Patmos is not writing like John of the Cross. Why did 666 get used? You have to be wise to figure this out. Yeah, it's transient. Is it God's will that we conquer time? This is fantastic. This is such good timing. Thank you. Yes, because the devil lives in the fragmented nature we see as time. Agreed. There's a great movie. Look at it or watch it. Oh, we're already at 47 minutes. Oh, goodness. It's a great movie called Far Away, So Close. And I only know about it because of you too, but that's not such a bad thing, is it? The devilish, fallen angel in that movie, it's called Emmett Flesty. Now it's an anagram of time itself. Time itself is a curse, I wrote. I don't know about that, but the devil is going to appear into, and the devil is chained to time. So, if I go any further with this, notes on the Bible. Hypothesis. The Nazis opened the door to severe corruption of the original New Testament. I would go a step further now. I'd say that the New Testament itself is not worth looking at. It's the same story told 4 times over, with little variation. And then Bono gives us his thoughts on the matter. Whereas, the Old Testament, or as I call it, the Tanakh, is consistent divine revelation to human beings like us, who are imperfect and no matter who we are going to do things that others would consider sin, even if we ourselves don't, right? We all do that. And I'm supposed to believe that the Messiah of the world came 2,000 years ago, died on a cross, and defeated Satan when the world is the way it is 2,000 years later? I'm not buying it. Anyway. The swastika is a beautiful symbol. It signifies peace and divinity. The wicked wretch had no right, in all caps, steal it back. So, I don't think we're there yet, but certainly I would like to see the swastika stolen back from evil and be used for good again. I frequently wear red, white, and black because I want to steal it back. And what's the other thing? Swastika, red, white, and black. There's some other, like, oh, the 1,000-year thing. Yeah. Well, it lasted about 12. But I think I can just take that power and take it for myself. And not kill a bunch of innocent people in the process. It's a bit of a gamble, but I'm willing to take that risk. Because why the fuck not? Alright. Yeah, more stuff there. Soundboarding. Sounding. The action or process of sounding or ascertaining the depth of water by means of the line or lead, the line or lead by means of an echo. And then I just wrote, you're not supposed to worship Jesus before Yahweh. Exactly. Yeah, I'm allowed to say that name. Nazis used enchantments. That stuck with me. I think they did. I don't know what that means exactly. I'm not a black magician. I like Aleister Crowley because he bridges the gap. I kind of get an idea of what they were all about without actually having to go talk to demons myself, which I really don't want to do. I don't like demons. Alright. Medical experiments. Ooh, you know what? I don't want to get into that right now. I'm going to keep it positive, okay? Alright. So here, we're back to brain science. I hope you enjoyed our detour. I'm sure this is all connected somehow anyway. More on that when I'm ready to go off my rocker again. Alright, let's take a break. Whew. Oh. My hair. I said this in a video. I'm not sure if I posted the video though. It was looking really good, and now it looks like it's in another awkward growing it out phase. It's like at that length where it's like I kind of look like some sort of grandmother. Which I love grandmothers, but I'm a 23-year-old man. I don't want to look like a grandmother. It's alright. I'm not gonna put it up. I am gonna fix these though. I know I said I wasn't gonna. Light a candle, but I don't think I have any. I should. I got. Oh yeah. Here I have a can of Barbasol. I use electric razors. This is probably going to be here for a while. Does this not have the ingredients on it? Oh, there we go. C. Exhibit A. Laureth-13. Canon ingredient and a can of shaving cream. Heal the brain. It's a hunch. I don't want this here. Should give this to Lars, actually. I don't think he uses electric razors. Okay. Am I ready to get back into it? Have to be. Alright, let's see. I drew a tree of life. So, here we have things about Laureth-23. Now, the hunch goes further. Laureth-23 is the ingredient in that. I have a hunch that it would be Laureth-13, actually. So, that number at the end there is the number of ethylene oxide units in the molecule. Again, it's a hunch. Maybe the Hunchback of Notre Dame could help me out. I drew, I don't know what you call those, but, like the molecule diagram. Lauryl alcohol. So it can be, so here's notes on synthesis here. Ethylene oxide plus Lauryl alcohol. Kobe, can you help me out? I don't know how to, actually do this. Stop stealing street signs and put yourself to use, please. And then I wrote PRDM16 again. How does PRDM16 aid in the bringing of neurons into the outer layer of the cortex? Again, that was naive, because obviously there are no new neurons to bring to the outer layer of the cortex from layer 6. But we want to figure out what's going on in the hippocampus that neurogenesis still happens into adulthood. Electricity. Everything has to be... I wrote intuition next to this. Everything has to be synchronized. Okay. Yeah, that's where we're going, I guess. But the neurological mechanisms that combine biology and electricity. Observation. Having a child is more important than work. Yes. Action potentials. Negative 55. What is MV? Millivolt. Okay, so it's a tiny volt. Oh, neurons operate largely in the millivolt range. Okay, thanks, ChatGPT. Alright. I literally wrote action potentials. Alright, come on, brother, lock in. So an action potential is about negative 55 millivolts. Stimulus depolarizes cell. What stimulus? I asked what stimulus. I was probably pissed off at whatever I was reading or watching. Membrane system. Wait, stimulus depolarizes cell? Well, it could be anything. Probably be internal or external. It could be anything. Come on, Brenner. Sodium channels open. Sodium ions enter. Okay, so good to know. I'm trying to visualize it. I don't visualize, really. I'm very verbal. most of the time these days when I'm visualizing, I'm seeing birds. Or a very good girl if I'm excited enough. But that's neither here nor there. General question: could neurotoxic material be transmuted into beneficial material that helps the brain instead of hurting it? My hunch would be yes. It still is. How would be the question. What is alchemy? And you might say alchemy is outdated. Doesn't make sense. It was an attempt to understand a chaotic world that failed. And I would say you could apply that very same logic and attack to science. To bring this all the way back, there's nothing comforting or reassuring about a god who will kill you if you do something he doesn't like. So anyway, bunch of pussies. What is alchemy? Well, I have some interesting things here. We have connection of schemas. So alchemy involves the connection of schemas, I suppose. Also, if you're at all interested in MBTI, which is the children's version of Jungian alchemy typology. You're into alchemy. Anyways, glucose in the brain. Oh, wow. I thought this was going to be very interesting, so I titled an entire page Glucose in the Brain. And then I wrote how, what, and then sugar. And that's it. And the rest of the page is on how to synthesize Laureth-13. Very, very in-depth here. We don't need to get into that right now. We're almost done with the notebook. And then we can move on to, doing new things. Taking new notes. Laureth-13 can be non-irritating if formulated properly. Okay, I didn't support that at all. Oh wait, hang on. You could potentially formulate it to be non-neurotoxic, but wait, what? I see. At this point, I think I'm in La La Land a little at this point. You could potentially formulate it to be non-neurotoxic, but what if it could be transmuted? Okay. I need to talk to people who are ahead of the curve. I know I'm not the first. Okay, that's true. Experiment on yourself first. Okay, so at this point, it's like the wheels have been turning a little too long. I haven't taken a break. And it's starting to short circuit. You need to learn to pace yourself, brother. Okay, so here I studied an article titled Sodium Lauryl Sulfate and its Potential Impacts on Organisms and the Environment, Thematic Analysis. Okay, but nothing interesting came of this. I just kind of restated my earlier point. We could change the way toxins interact with their substrates, making them beneficial rather than harmful. Biological or not, everything could be made well, not by removing or avoiding, but by alchemizing. This is an idea that I like, because, with all of the things that can harm biological organisms, and the amount of new things that can harm biological organisms that don't decay being created every day, what you would want to look at potentially wouldn't be trying to remove them or get rid of them, but somehow some genius will figure out how to transmute. I think I like that word. Something or other, so that we can actually help the organisms that they interact with, not harm them. I took a bunch of notes on spiritual lies with Nazis. This is interesting. So there's this thing called the Pan-German vision. Symbolic significance, Slovene being... Okay, this is an interesting one. List. Was it Franz? List? Yeah, the book was called The Occult Roots of Nazism. Claims he converted to paganism after discovering that a labyrinth under a church was dedicated to a demon. I'd like to introduce an idea. Okay. I'd like to introduce an idea. Here we have a horseshoe. I was about exactly 19, maybe a little older, when I came up with this idea, or when it came to me. It's a horseshoe, and the horseshoe is oriented like this, okay? So, this is up, this is down. So, up would be closer to the truth, down would be, just kind of in nebulous land. The majority of people are down here. Right? They kind of alternate between good and evil. They kind of stay down here. Alright? Now up here we got good. And over here we got evil. So actually good and evil are kind of closer to each other in a way than this nebulous space where most people exist. Right, they're mirror images of each other. Does that mean that evil is another form of truth? No. And as much as I get annoyed with the people living down here, I go have lunch with one of these people. I wouldn't go have lunch with an evil man. But I think that people bottom should learn to keep their mouths shut, because they don't know what they're talking about. And they get in my way a lot. I don't like that. If I thought they were interesting enough, I'd put them in their place. But very often I don't. Because they're not interesting. Real men are doing real things. if you don't like the fact that I went to jail, why don't you take it up with my ass? Moving on. Okay, we're basically done with the notebook. Which means where should we go from here? I don't want to use ChatGPT right now, for various reasons. ChatGPT is said to be super intelligent and whatnot. It doesn't seem to me to be the case. It has no ability to form new ideas. It can just kind of synthesize all of the ideas that already exist into an easily digestible page. So if we're looking to push boundaries and generate new ideas, it's going to be useless. And extracting a chemical from a can of Barbasol to heal the brain that's about as far out as you can get. So the ChatGPT is going to be useless. It's probably going to report me to the FBI and tell me to cease and desist. So I don't fucking care. All right. I think it's time for another break. Let's have a moment of silence. I was gonna I was gonna have more of like this was gonna lead to something. Where I'm at right now is I would really like the next phase of research to be private. But that's not fun. It's not fun. And this is important. Or it wouldn't be happening at 3 a.m. on Shabbat. Let's see. Well, hang on. Let's answer the question that's up here. What is stimulating neurogenesis in use ChatGPT for known facts. I don't use computers. This typing's painful, I know. Adult hippocampal neurogenesis, primarily in the dentate gyrus of the hippocampus, is influenced by a surprisingly wide range of biological and environmental factors. That's code for we don't really know. Strongest evidence supports a combination of physical activity, so this is bullshit. It knows how to, make shit smell good. The process itself involves neural stem cell proliferation. So literally, that is what is stimulating neurogenesis in the hippocampus. And then it literally gives me a breakdown of what neurogenesis is and says that's what's stimulating neurogenesis. Right. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So never mind. We don't know. Okay. That will be a good one to figure out. If I had to break down what we've been through so far, it would be the psilocybin research is very intriguing, and I would direct anyone with post-concussion syndrome to take mushrooms legally. Maybe not anyone. But if you think you're up to the task, do it. Smarties. And you could potentially do wild, never before seen magical medical experiments for the greater good. I would like to build a music studio on the edge of the Negev desert in Beersheba, or Beersheba. That way, I can have well, I can have all my friends come and we can hang out at the edge of the Negev. And I can make the music, right? And then this, by the way, this is like a 20-year plan here. If all goes well over the next 20 years, I'll do this. Make the music there. And then we can have wilderness expeditions into the desert. We can go into the desert, lie under the stars. Anyway. I got bitten by a dog yesterday. I'm considering whether or not I should get rabies shots. I was in the woods. Spent about 8 hours in the woods yesterday, as I do. This woman had 3 dogs off leash. Now, it's not the most popular spot in the world, right? It's right next to Salmon Brook in Dunstable. You know, it's not the most popular spot. So, like, I get it. You don't want to have your dog, or whatever. But there are people around, okay? And so I got 3 dogs running at me. The woman's like, there's a fork, and I'm down here, and the woman's up here, and the dogs are running around the corner. And you know, I'm just walking, you know? Like, I don't like dogs, okay? Golden retrievers. I could probably settle for a pair of well-behaved boys. But the dogs are running around the corner. And I just want to keep walking. Alright? I'm not going to stop and say hi to the dogs. Not these ones. These ones, like, they don't look friendly, so... And the smallest freaking one runs up behind me and bites my leg. And so now I'm yelling at the dog. And the woman's not doing shit, right? She's just like casually strolling towards me. And I'm literally in a standoff with 3 dogs now. Okay. Well, one of them doesn't care. And the bigger one and this little one that just bit me are like we're at each other, right? We're angry at each other. And that thing started it, not me. Okay. So I'm literally doing like Harry Potter movie scene, like, oh, oh. And I, like, look over at this woman, and she's just, like, because I'm like, am I really going to have to kick the shit out of your dog right now? And she's just casually strolling towards me, right? And, like, thank God, she got there, like, kind of at the right time. I got one of the big dog to back off, right? You basically just stand your ground. Most dogs are pussies. Just stand your ground, they'll back up. Not Rottweilers and not dogs like that. These weren't them. Anyways, she literally didn't say a thing. I mean, I had my music on, but, like, she didn't stop, and, like, she just kept walking past me. So I like, composed very quickly after it was over. Leash your dogs, please. And moved on. I don't know. I don't think I made a dent, because she clearly did not give a shit. So I'm considering getting rabies shots just in case, but, you know, they're just, I kind of like, is it wrong? I kind of like needles. Like, I love getting blood tests. You can literally see the blood pouring into this vial. It's so cool. Anyway. Where was I? I mean, here's the thing. Okay, we don't know what's stimulating neurogenesis in the hippocampus. Laureth-13 is a hunch. PRDM16 works somehow to carry new neurons out of layer 6. By the way, that's important because concussion, a lot of the injuries on the surface, kind of. So carrying new neurons to the outer layers would be very useful. Okay, but there's no new neurons to carry if you're outside of infancy. And then I'm not going to ask ChatGPT about the potential neurological properties of Laureth-13. It's going to tell me it's neurotoxic, but I have this hunch. There's something here. I don't know, I can't let go of it. It's been 2 years? Year and a half. I can't let go of it. There's something. Anyways, the album's out in 6 days. Fever Rare. I'm happy with it. I wasn't happy with Rose, so I'm glad I'm happy with this one. But, you know, I'm happy with it, I guess. But, like, I think it's going to be a couple more years until I make an album that's, you know, to my standard. And that's just fine. I'll miss these days someday. I don't miss them right now. I have no money. Really, none. I'm not where I want to be as a musician. I'm just making my case to my future self, so he realizes he's wrong. You do not want to come back here. I know you still do. Those airplanes back there. been there for longer than I can remember. That's pretty cool. I don't know how they figured out I was so into planes when I was so young. Probably had... Oh, yes, that's right. Some of my first words were, "Oh, da. Look at the plane. Oh, da." It was always about planes. We were discussing this at dinner last night. I remember crying as a boy over the Concorde in its retirement. It was my favorite plane. And it was retired, I think, the year I was born, in 2003. It was, if you don't know, it's a supersonic supersonic passenger jet. One of a kind, basically. I mean, there was the Tupolev Tu-144, but that crashed and burned. Basically, the only supersonic passenger jet there ever was. And there were 17, 18, or around that number. Yeah, let's look it up. There were only, how many Concordes? Well, I want to see how many were in service. Okay, 20, wait, no, 20 were built. 14, so never mind. 7 for British Airways and 7 for Air France. And they flew, the main routes were Heathrow, London, to JFK, I think JFK, to New York, and Charles de Gaulle to New York. And obviously there was a great tragedy at Charles de Gaulle in 2000, 2001. A DC-10 dropped, I think, a piece of an engine onto the runway. Those DC-10s, MD-11s, there was an MD-11 awful crash just a little while ago. There's still death capsules. Anyways, the way the Concorde's designed, the wing is like an engine under the wing. Well, obviously there are 4. I understand there's more than one engine, I'm just saying. It's an engine under the wing. And a little piece of metal from the DC-10 flew up, hit the tire on the Concorde, flew up, pierced the engine, massive fire, and unfortunately no one survived on the plane, and I believe there were around 4 fatalities on the ground. I'm not going to check on that. I'm bored of that. I'm not bored of this. This is fun. Things can go very wrong. You have to be careful. I think we're done with all this. I'm just gonna make this like a vlog or something. It's a good morning. The glasses on wasn't entirely like tongue-in-cheek. I'm quite certain that no one's going to try and steal this. It's too out there. But, you know, shades. Enough said. I'm going to leave this open just in case I want to look anything up. We're all talking to keep the conversation alive. That was in about 3 different keys. Backwater. That Brian Eno album That's a good one. Before and after science. Before and after science. Apparently, if I have my way, there won't be an after science. We're just going to make science more interesting. Stop the stranglehold. Let us be a little mad. Come on. Checks and balances. Fuck off. This is Columbia. This is Lars's shirt. I got his old room, so I have some of his clothes. Come get, bitch. I got my records here. What is this? I don't know what this is. What are you doing, Lars? Anyway. This is the first record I bought. Should I put it on? No. Hotel California. 14. It's Christmas. I love the back too. Such a cool cover. They had an amazing run. 1972, their first album came out. It's self-titled, Eagles. Talk about like their babies, but they were all 25, so older than me. I think that worked in their favor because I mean they came out of the gates with an amazing record. 73, Desperado, amazing record. 74, On the Border, I can go without, but it's got its merit. 75, One of These Nights, one of my favorites. This was 76 or 77? 76. Just a masterpiece. Here's another one. Obviously, I have to have the Joshua Tree. Come on. Now, why is this a double record though? Do I get like the deluxe version? It's that long? It's 56 minutes or something. What? Huh. Yeah, they split it into 2 discs. Interesting. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, I have Desperados. Interesting. I have stations too. This is worth listening to. This is Alchemy Live by Dire Straits. Out of the park. One of the best live albums I've ever heard. That's an interesting look. Kind of cool. What else is there to talk about? I'm in New York next week. Playing a club called the Delancey. It's a cool little joint. Well, it's pretty big. I don't have a band, as is. So I'll be doing it solo, which is fine for now. I'm still walking out of the fire of my last record, Fever Rare. was very intense, right? Because I mean, I did Rose, my first album. It was in this tiny little studio in Brighton, Mass. And I think we did like 2 days a week or something. Very light, very light. It wasn't even like, we would do like 4-hour days. So extremely light. And this is very different. I met Ben in August. I drove down around the 25th to meet him, and I didn't think it was going to happen because of how expensive it was, but my dad's like, well, we'll just make it happen. And we did. And yeah, it was 9 days of studio time in November, over 10 days. Shabbat off. And then another 5 in February. In between November and February, I mean, it was just I was just always thinking about it. I was never not thinking about it, trying to make it better. And after that, it was like just constantly waiting for the initial mix, and then thinking about the edits, thinking about getting the masters. Now it's like it's here. I got the coldest day of the year in February in New York. Coldest day of the year. I think it was -4 or something. And I walked over the Brooklyn Bridge that day, if I remember correctly. It was cold the whole time, but and I lost the ability to swallow. I was like, are you serious? I didn't know that cold could do that. Anyway. So yeah, the album's here, and then the next one we're shooting for well, obviously there's the promotional side of this that has to go on. I've given a 6-month sort of window, so May 15th to November 15th, where the promotion needs to be full blast. I'm still figuring out what exactly that means. There's some things I can't talk about, and I don't know what's going to pan out, what's not. So, kind of planning for having to pay for the next one too. That's fine. It needs to get done. It's going to get done. But I would like to go back into the studio, and I already talked to Ben about this, in September. So do a September and then an October. Being able to go outside and have it not be -4 is actually very crucial when you're making a record. Like, to be able to go walk in Prospect Park, or take the tube. The tube. Did I say the tube? The subway to Manhattan, go walk in Central Park. It's crucial. So, September and October. And then I want that one to be released in July of next year. And then for the next one, I would actually like, I think I'll be at that point by that point, but I would like 3 rounds of studio time. And really get there. But I'm not at that point yet. 2 rounds is fine for this next one, which is already, I have it all here. It's in my voice memos, and I think I have, yeah. So I basically, for Rose, I wrote 60 songs. something like that. Or not for Rose, sorry. For Viva Rare. And for this one, I basically literally only wrote 10 songs. And I'm going to perfect them long before we get into the studio. But it's called Rose, Spanish City. And it's a concept album. I was having visions, as I do. And suck my dick, I do. I've been kicked around a little too much to say that without adding that in. I really like it. I really like what's come here. Because two things. One, I remember walking in the woods in March and thinking, I'm never going to write a concept album. Or I'm not anytime soon. And then literally 2 weeks later, it just happened. Like it was just the right thing to do. And the other thing is, I need to go back to bed. But the other thing is, I'll remember. Will I? Stop looking at me. Oh yeah, I always thought when I was younger, I had to write love songs. I had to. There's not a single love song on here. I mean, maybe the last one, kinda. Not really. You know, they have their place. It's fine. But because I think with Rose, the first song is a love song, second song is a love song, third song is a love song, fourth song is a love song. Rose is pretty much all love songs. It's hilarious because the album's devoid of love, and I was devoid of love at the time. Viva Rare is different. Viva Rare is kind of the bridge. There are two real love songs, Ava and River Song. That's basically it. And then everything in between is like, they're just not love songs. It's so cool to watch track my evolution, kind of. And perhaps I should stop and smell the roses. But I'm really concerned with how I'm going to pay for food. You don't want to come back here. I know you do. So I mean, everything has to be done correctly at this point. There's no room for error anymore. I'm not at that phase. Certainly, there's tons of room to grow and improve, of course, but there's no room for error. Sometimes I want some room for error, and I'll do things like this. I have to get this nail on top of the blanket. I get it out that way. It's a real thing. I get out the need for error. Low stakes things, I'll make stupid mistakes just to get out the need to make a mistake. Because in the real world and what I'm doing, there's no room for error. I have to clean this room today. It's just like a pit of clothes back there. I don't know how that happens. I keep my rooms very clean, but then clothes, they get everywhere. And there's no excuse in here because look, I got two great shelves back there. I can just put clothes on them. Is there anything else I'm working on that I want to talk about? It's Saturday, so I shouldn't. So never mind. I had to text John Duffy today. Hang out again. I had a birthday dinner with John Duffy, with a friend of mine. Yeah, I don't know if he wants his name. He's cool. You know the last time I had a friend with me, like even one on my birthday? I was 18. I'm 23. It's been 5 years. It's incredible. It was so fun. Awesome. Awesome stuff. My allergies are so bad. And they were red. I have an interesting relationship with marijuana. Sometimes I'll use it, but like twice every 2 years. And just to kind of like shuffle the deck a little bit. And rearrange some things. I hate it. But it's useful sometimes. I really don't like it. It's like, paranoid would be like an understatement. I'm always kind of paranoid. It's just kind of who I am right now. But the sensation amplification, some people just get it, right? Like they get it. It's like, oh, that's just an amplified sensation. I'm just feeling a little different than I usually do. I like attach meanings to the sensations. It's like my stomach will hurt and I'm like, oh, I took my lithium without any food. I'm internally bleeding. I'm gonna die. And like I know that's like not there, but it's like I can't shake it because that gets attached to like the sensation. So until the sensation goes away, that thought's there. It's fascinating. I don't know how I was like, when I went to jail, I was very cool about it. I'm smiling in my mugshot. I hope that comes out someday. I'm smiling in my mugshot. And they sent me to the pen, right? Because this is a tiny place. So the arresting officer was like, well, I can keep you here in Groton and feed you like McDonald's all weekend. Or, I can send you to the penitentiary and, they'll have real food and whatnot. Okay. Respect. I would have taken the McDonald's. I did not eat. It was Saturday. I got arrested. Saturday night. And then, so I was there. I got there. I got booked at like 10 p.m. Put me in solitary, where the worst of the worst are. It was so quiet when I got there. I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. I had a nice warm blanket. And you're not sleeping on cold steel. You're sleeping on, like a pad. Like a pee pad, actually. But it's a pad. No laugh. And then what was it, the next day, so I woke up to basically just screaming. What is going on? There's some sort of fight. But I'm like, you're in solitary. Who are you fighting? And it was everyone. They were all hollering. And I was what's called a keep safe. Or whatever. So they don't let you out of your cell. basically. I was in they don't let anybody out of their cells in solitary. It was crazy. Because it got to like 2 p.m. I'm like, wait, isn't there like rec time or something? There's none. You just stay in your cell all day in solitary. Or whatever. Or whatever it's called. It's not like solitary confinement where you're like completely alone, but you don't leave. You're the only one in the cell. I tried a bite of breakfast. It's not food. Okay, it's just not. I mean, you eat it if you have to. But I was only there for, what, like a day? So, I didn't eat. Left my cell for 5 minutes, I think, to take a cold shower. No shampoo. I'm kind of splitting hairs here now. Yeah, it was not a good experience. And then I was so worried they were going to forget me for court the next day. But literally, they were fighting the entire day and into the night. But there was nobody to fight. They're in their... I still can't figure that out. I remember the kid... There's this kid in our holding cell while we were getting shipped to court. And he's like the coolest guy. Like, sweetheart. But he's bragging about how he's gonna get 15 years. Man, you know what you could do with your life? With a heart like that? You're not like the rest of the people in here. There's soulless people in here. You bragging about getting 15 years? Dude, come on. Come on. So... I'm almost done with probation, which is nice. I'm gonna miss my probation officer and the judge and people, and kind people. But I'm not unhappy that it's gonna be over. I'm sure the paranoia will persist. And every time the wind blows the wrong way, I'll think the cops are after me again. That's alright. The adrenaline kinda... It's fuel. It's rocket fuel. It's the thing about it, is that it's not a debilitating kind of paranoia. It's useful. A, making sure my nose is clean. B, something a little deeper. It's useful. It's like being pushed by some force. But I mean, I'm constantly paranoid. Paranoid right now. It is what it is. As far as I can tell, it's not like a schizophrenic kind of paranoia. I don't think so. I have my brain abnormality, I get it, but I don't think it's that. Oh, the birds are chirping. But it's real. Well, it's not real, but it's... What kind of bird is that? Let's see. That stopped. Paranoia is gonna get worse, not better. You know, if I get in trouble right now, they're not going to come to my house and slap cuffs on me. Well, they might, but it's more likely that I hear it first from the court, from the probation officer. And we go and settle it as part of the probation. I'm off probation. Something happens. We can argue about whether or not I actually screwed up. But so there's some warrant to the paranoia, I suppose, because too soon. Anyway, let's not end on that note, or let's not end at all. Let's keep this going. A 3-hour video. I was doing some what was it? I forgot. I did some interesting research on environmental science when I was younger. In the distributor app, the DistroKid is what it's called for the music, to like get it out to the stores. I'm gonna take a break in a minute too, which is fine. They let you choose the record label name. So for this latest record, I chose Kauai O'u Records, which is an extinct species of bird from Kauai. It went extinct. The last sighting was in 1987. I did some very interesting environmental research when I was younger. Cloning has come a long way. The potential to bring back extinct species is higher than ever, obviously. Well, hopefully. And there's certain species that you really want brought back because they fill very unique niches, and obviously that's the selling point. You don't have the truth of it, though. It's just that there's certain animals that you fall in love with and you don't want to see them go forever. So this particular bird has the most beautiful call. No, I'm going to play it. It's the most beautiful bird song I've ever heard. And it's gone. But let's see if I can find it. Is that the video? No, the video. Is it? I'm glad that spring peepers still exist. That's by far the best frog call. Anyway. Oh, hello. Anything else in here that I can talk about? You know what? Let's make coffee. Mug. Don't mug. It's steel. Come on. Oh, I just stepped on the litter. No. Hey, a cat. Oh, we got the other cat in here too. Into the night. This is my first real beard. It's like, I can't grow it out down here. It pisses off the women. So if I do this, it's like they don't like it. It doesn't look good. I get migraines, I think, about 3 or 4 days a week. I should probably see a doctor about that. Of all the things I worry about seeing a doctor about, it should probably be that. Cheers. sensor. Come on. Whoops. What? What is it? Have a cat. Hey, no, don't drink that. Mine. Jump. Or not. Do not knock my phone down. What's your ear wet? You wanna look at yourself again? Oh my. Oh my. Got your nose. Right, now my finger's all wet. Alright. Why don't you get off? Oh. You just gonna sit here? Hey, you can't drink that. My cats are pretty old, I think. 12. But they live kind of towards 20, don't they? Dogs don't. My dog is 8. So, home stretch. Of course, I'll probably be gone like right around the time he dies. Because my plan is to stay here until I am 25-ish. Yeah, 28, and then move to Los Angeles. So, oh well. That oh well is regarding the dog still being alive when I leave. I don't like the dog. Can't make that any clearer. don't think the dog likes me, so I don't feel as bad about it, knowing that. But I'm not without my reasons. I mean, like, if I leave my door open and there's food anywhere in the room, he will steal it. He barks at everything, including me sometimes. But he has shown time and again that if there were an actual home invasion scenario, he would run away. So he's not even fulfilling the purpose that he was bought for. We should have gotten an actual German Shepherd if that's what we wanted, but we got some German Shepherd Terrier mix. Okay, I'm done. A pair of well-behaved boys. Golden Retriever. That's what I'd go for. I don't know what's going on with this epaulet, but it's pissing me off. Okay. Yeah. That one goes there. Good. And they're crossed here somewhere. Good. Wow. That's not helping. There we go. The title of this video is something like Efficacy of, what was it? Laureth-13 for or in diffuse axonal injury. Now, I really want people to understand this. Concussion is largely about shearing of axons. So the word diffuse is the iffy one, but axonal injury is accurate. You're not going to see, like, is there a tissue box in here? I have, like, bad allergies, whatever. You're not going to see, like, on a brain scan, you're not going to see any visible damage. The damage is on a more microscope. It's on a smaller scale. It's half the rest of my copy. It's on a smaller scale than the imaging software can pick up. Why is it? What is that? Focus on me. What is happening? Okay. So, yeah. Essentially, when I played hockey, this kid said concussions aren't real. Well, yeah, I mean, you can't see them on a brain scan, but they're certainly real things. Is this one screwed up now too? No, it's not. Hockey was a lot of fun. I played, I had a wild childhood, so I didn't actually get around to really playing until I was older, but I was I was born into it. And then, I really started playing when I was around 10. I just had a blast. Great team. The team I was on in 5th grade was fantastic. 6th was awful. 7th was fine. And then 8th, I was on a great team again. We went to Lake Placid, second time. and played in the 80 rink. It's fantastic. And then 9th grade, I chose to ski race instead of playing hockey. I was a much better skier than I was hockey player anyway. Well, I mean, I wasn't actually that bad at hockey. I just felt like I was. Ski raced, hit my head. So no more hockey. 10th grade. 11th grade, I said, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway. I did. Played JV. Total blast. Great memory. And then I got another concussion. Set myself off a bike jump. Like, bad fall. This side of my face was basically scraped off. There are images of it, but if you look, you see how I have like, well, actually it's kind of even now, but there's like a line here. It's not present on this side. From this line over, this was all scraped off. All of this here. My black eye. And then I was actually done with hockey, basically. There was like a no-check thing for preseason, senior year, because of COVID. So I was able to play in that, but then they brought the checking back for regular season. It sucks. I would have loved to play varsity, but it was fine. I should play like a men's league. It'd be fun. But I really don't ski anymore since the accident. I just can't. It's not the same. Which I think is perfectly understandable. It's not weak. Like, the people who talk like that, it's like, well, no, because, I mean, you can still do it, but what's the point if it's just not fun? Like, isn't the point of skiing to have fun? I'll get over it someday. Hopefully. I'm down, actually, to 3 cups of coffee a day. It used to be 2, and then I went to New York to do the album, and then it was like 5. I got like stuck at like 4 or 5 for a while. Now I'm down to 3. You want to have control over your drug intake. Period. Yes. Nicotine is an incredibly useful drug. And it's underrated. And it's so much safer now that we have vapes. And the amount of people who have told me that vapes are worse for you than cigarettes is higher than 0. And one guy was in the hospital with me. We were in the loony bin. And he told me that. And I tried to argue with him. I was like, are you fucking serious? I have bipolar disorder. I've been diagnosed that way anyway. There's certainly something going on. I don't know what it is though. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. The horrible depressions might be a bad thing. No. Anyway. He was like I was trying to argue with him. Heard something. Cat's at the door. And he wouldn't have it. And I think there was like a legitimate point that he was trying to make though, which is that you can use this anywhere. So you get more addicted to it. I think that's probably what he meant. But the thing about it is, there are about 4,000 less toxins that are trying to kill you in this compared to cigarettes. The other one was a police officer here in Dunstable. So, complete respect. But I'm going to disagree. Well, wait, but did he even say that it's a horrible time? I might be reading into it, might not be. But this really isn't that bad for you, is my point of view. So, respect. As I mentioned in the last video I made, I fall actually into the more authoritarian side of things. So, I have zero problem with the police. I think the DA might need to be looked into, though. By might, I mean should be. No, they're really cool, actually. Like, because I went in, I got arrested in Groton. And they're so cool. They were like, you know, the sergeant over there, I won't mention his name, but the sergeant, he's like, you know, you're a good kid, and we don't want to have to do this, but, you know, don't fuck up. And I really appreciate that. I love coffee. I like stimulants. I generally don't like depressants. Alcohol is okay. It's whatever. I forget, there's some confusion over whether marijuana was a stimulant or a depressant. There's like legitimate confusion over it. It was very interesting. I have to look it up. It's difficult to place into a single category. Yeah. What I really respect you two for, many things, but they were always against drugs, and they really stood by that, and I really appreciated that. You know, they saw a different side of it than I see. I think drugs are very useful tools, and you can argue about legality, I suppose, but different things are acceptable at different times. I don't know why. My main problem, no, not my main problem, but one of the problems with the Catholic Church is that it functions less as a religious institution and more as a governing institution of social control, posing as a religious institution. The idea of a Messiah is present across religions. It's present in Christianity, it's present in Judaism, and it's present in Islam. So this idea that Christianity has a monopoly on the Messiah is complete bogus. But for some reason, Catholics, and I am Jewish, have decided that Jews are their enemy. So I'm really in no position to say anything kind about the Catholic Church, and in fact, it seems to be my duty to at least put them in their place. Probably more than that. They're always looking for the Antichrist. I'm not anti the Messiah. I'm anti your bullshit child rape church. It's a money laundering scheme. Whether you're just laundering money, or burning Jews at the stake, or burning people you don't like at the stake, or raping children, you're not. This is bullshit. It's a horrible church. It's a horrible institution. I quite like the Eastern Orthodox Church. I even joined it for a while. It's fantastic. They have their problems with Jews. I have my problems with them. But I think we can get along and find a way to make the world a better place. And yeah. I'm not going to fall down before the Messiah, not at this point. But I don't think they're going to fall down before Yah. I think that's fine. A lot of cool Protestants too. Cool guys. I don't know why the Roman Catholics have decided to make us their enemy. Envy? They could cool the wrath a bit. And the pride. But for the love of God, stop with the graven images. It's all about the 7 deadly sins with them. And telling your priest so that it's removed, and then go do it again, and then tell the priest again. Or just pay. Just pay money. I was going to say something else along those lines. Oh yes, it's all about the 7 deadly sins, but the 10 commandments, it's like... It doesn't matter. I mean, no, I guess you're not Israelites. I have plenty of room for the Eastern Orthodox Church and their view of them being Israelites. I have plenty of room for that. I don't think you then denounce Jews as not the real Israel. In fact, I know you don't do that. But as far as I can tell, it's right worship in its way. Catholic schoolgirl is a pornographic term. I quite like Protestants. Again, they're fantastic people. Most of them are just so full of joy and life, and it's wonderful. Again, with the right-wing liberals, I have so many right-wing liberal friends, but anyway, let's do that again. Eastern Orthodox, there's a lot of love in those churches. A lot. There's a feeling of divine presence too. I knew less about God as a child when I walked into a Roman Catholic church. Protestants are getting something important. Worship could kind of become celebration if it's done in the right way. I like that. One more time for good measure. The Orthodox dedication to getting it right, to understanding God, how right they are or not doesn't really matter, because their hearts are in the right places. I don't know that Catholics generally even believe in God as a being. Protestants love God, generally. Not the Westboro Baptist Church, but generally. Okay, I think I've made my position clear enough. I did kind of think the Eastern Orthodox had a Nazi problem, but I think that was a vocal minority. I don't think that's a general rule at all. So I'm not going to apologize for saying that. I think it had its place. But yeah, I think generally they're pretty cool. There is apparently a site in Israel where you can find ruins, ancient ruins, and balls of sulfur. So we would probably disagree on, homosexuality. I have no problem with it. But you're right to point out that whole movement is called the Pride movement. That's an issue, isn't it? That's an issue. I agree. I just don't think it fucking matters. I think you say fuck too. I don't think it matters. I don't think that's evil language. It used to be, perhaps, where you would, I'm not going to do it, but you would say that word and intend to, deeply curse someone. Now it's like, who fucking cares? It's just different. The world changes. I understand God doesn't change necessarily, but God is infinite. And the nature of infinity is change. It's flow. That's my view. I'm going to try to go for 3 hours. It's going to be fun. This video is going to take like 3 hours to upload. Like, you can just let it out. It's not a big deal. I'm not gonna scold you. Like, we need to come to an agreement as people who love God. Enough said, I think. I have a friend. We're not exactly in communication at this time. But no, it's actually there's three of us really. And we went, searching for the truth and God and all that. And he really mellowed me out, because I thought, well, there has to be one faith that's correct. But he knew Jesus far better than I did. And I said, well, no, I mean, it's kind of, it's all one thing. It's just fantastic. And people are going to have their views about that, that's fine. And my view is called Judaism. And yours might be called Orthodoxy, called some form of Protestantism. We all need to learn how to share and work together as a team. For real. Some things they teach you in school aren't BS. I think Nazism is a radical statement, so prepare yourself. I know we're like 2.5 hours into this, and this is kind of soft at this point. This is another radical statement. I think Nazism was a necessary price to pay for Jews to be put in the Holy Land again. Why we didn't ride the wave of Iranian Revolution to a simple and clean regime change, I don't know. It's probably as simple as Donald Trump wanted to flex his military. And now we're in a gridlock with a nest of hornets that has been rather violently shaken. I fully understand and support the need to rid the area surrounding Israel of terror cells, and I understand the desire to take out the queen. Okay, but it was so fucking simple. How did this happen? This is awful. Alright, so 3 hours. I don't know, it is what it is at this point. It's called sacrifice. Still necessary. Who said you had to like it? It's just the way it is. So yeah, I mean, on that note, because that was meant to be a synthesis of several of the prior things I said, but to extract one of those. Yeah, it would have taken longer to wait and to support the revolution in Iran, but it would have been the right thing to do too. So expedience is wrong, generally, and I know that better than anyone because I have no patience, and I've seen what not waiting for the right time does. I've seen the inside of a penitentiary. And now we're stuck. Lord have mercy. Well, it worked out for me. Maybe it'll work out for them. I don't know. If we can rid the world of Islamist militant groups, that'd be fantastic. It'd be great for everyone. This whole blown out of proportion is a genocide in Gaza thing? Bullshit. No, there's not a genocide in Gaza. Terror cells are intentionally setting up camp in schools and hospitals. Do you know what would happen if terror cells in Toronto were setting up camp in schools and hospitals and attacking America? We would destroy the schools and hospitals. It's not a genocide, you fucking faggots. Anyway. Oh, I would never call a gay person that. No. I call people who scapegoat Jews that. And I would never call a person with Down syndrome, you know. No. So if I call you the R word, I'm not saying you have Down syndrome. I'm saying that you're the R word. No, people with Down syndrome are very often beautiful souls, very wise and very intelligent, very bold. Very often, the people who have a problem with people who are different like that are retards. I have no problem if you're different. As long as your heart's in the right, they're beautiful. Shit your pants in public. It's cute. So, as far as like what I am exactly, technically I'm a German. my last name is very interesting. There are 3 spellings of it, but they're all the same family tree. What appears to have happened is an Ashkenazi family changed their name to Plain, and some of them went east to not Siberia. Why did that just come to mind? Well, what country was it? East of Poland, and retained the Judaism, and then some of them stayed in Germany and became Catholic, probably by force. Catholicism loves converting people by force. And the ones who went east spell it with just an E, and the ones who stayed in Germany spell it with just an A. And then some dude, like, really cool guy, 4 generations ago, came here, spelled it with both an A and an E. What the fuck? And, yeah. So patrilineally, I'm Ashkenazi German. Matrilineally, I'm not quite clear on it. Swedish, Spanish, French, Irish. Is that everything? Yeah, it's like French, Canadian sort of thing. Also on my father's side, Irish. Is that it? Yeah, so on my father's side, it's rather simple. It's just Irish and German. And on my mother's side, it's like this whole smorgasbord of different things. The sun's out. Look at this. This is a fun video. So. My mother's side's far more interesting, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. Not like she's gonna scold me, but like ancestrally, you have to be careful with that. Seriously. I don't know if it's worse than the German situation, but it's far more secretive. So, call it what you want to. But the whole Spanish thing, Catholic again, is very, very, very interesting. Anyway. I don't want these right now. Candy. I used to have a candy problem. High chews, addicted, severely. There were some rough times in there, for my teeth. I've graduated to kind of Smarties. I'll have Starburst once in a while. But I can't do the high chews anymore. High chews are like, ooh. We had sushi last night. Now, I used to hate sushi. Despise. Sushi now. Come on. Like, seriously. It's so good. I had these, these little heart-shaped salmon pieces. They're like wrapped in salmon. I've got like avocado, rice, soy sauce, some sort of green sauce, or orange sauce. And they're wrapped in soy paper. I mean, it's just like... fantastic. Like, really good. I had another birthday dinner, third one, last night, with my grandmother and my parents. It was very good. And I had Japanese beer. And you want to know what? It's better than basically every other beer I've tried. What's going on with me right now? I've been talking for 3 hours. That's what's going on. Tasted really good. It didn't have that like heavy, like stick in your throat feeling to it. It was almost like a wine, which I can't drink. Oh. Yes. The hair's long for a reason. It's not really stylistic. I decided to take the Nazarite vow. Rather, I decided to take it again. I kind of failed the first time and wound up in trouble with the law. You have to be careful. You have to take it very seriously, or that might happen. Yeah. The next person to cut my hair will be a woman. Not a barber, just a woman. And it'll probably be very long by that point. Unless I do this right, in which case it could be soon. It all depends on, how quickly the marketing thing can happen. At this point, the music's good, so it's just a matter of getting it to people. You have a far easier time doing that in cities, and I'm in, butt fuck, middle of nowhere. So, there's certain tactics that'll be using. I'm sure people will have some issue with. I want to make it very clear, I have no issue with it. So, it all depends on how quickly that can happen, really. Here we go again. Gotta wait for the right time. But what is this thing doing? There you go. Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. I found a picture of my brother and his friends in this room. And there's this girl in the middle of the picture. She's wearing a Cushing hockey sweater. Or a sweatshirt. She looks pretty cute. But oh, if you don't know, I got kicked out of that school for sneaking into a girls' dorm with said brother in the middle of the night. Apparently that's so bad and awful to want to hang out with cool people in the middle of the night that I got kicked out, essentially. Guess who's complaining? Not me. Music career started like that. Oh, really? She looks cute. Not really my type. My type is wretched girls who have nothing good going about them. But recently I've been into lovely girls. Kind of a new thing I'm trying. I went to Cushing post-grad. This was it. And I was there for 2 months. I went to post-grad. My senior year of high school, I wound up in a bunch of shit, as I tend to get myself into. Hi, Kat. What do you want? And I sort of decided that post-grad year would be good because I wanted to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I wound up at Cushing. And I got there, and suddenly I just had some space, you know. I was living on my own in the dorm. And I loved that kind of space. I love being alone. The thing is, though, I had just gotten into David Bowie, and I found myself at odds with, suddenly not myself for once, but the world around me. I found that the problems really didn't lie within myself. They lay in the systems around me. And it was a lovely 2 months, full of rebellion. I basically wouldn't go to class. I would skip class and go to, except psychology. I like psychology. And English. Actually, it was great. I had a great English teacher. I had some nice interactions with post-grad too, post-Cushing. And I ran cross-country which I adored. I'll never forget the day I was suddenly able to leap from like being able to run for 30 minutes straight to over an hour. I just loved it. I met some lovely people, but mostly I kept to myself. I met this girl. Well, she was too young, but it was pussy. What are you doing? Stop! Cats are so funny. Anyway. I learned so much, and I got along with this security guard who was really cool, who thought the world was being run by aliens. You know, clearly he's out of his tree. But, where do I take it from here? I learned how to write there. Not just music, but lyric, poem. It was a lovely campus, and lots to do, and lots to see, lots of woods, trails to walk in. This beautiful open field. I'll take you sometime. And you can see Mount Wachusett, sort of at the out in the distance. Anyways, one night my brother and I snuck into a dorm room, and a girls' dorm, and there were 3 girls in the room. They took the screen off the window so we could get in. This was a whole thing. It was like 1 a.m. And 2 of the girls were super cool, and one of the girls hated us, and she reported me to the faculty, and called me in and grilled me. Really grilled me. He got me. I was denying it. Shouldn't have denied it. And he's like, "Well, I have you on camera." And I was like, "Oh, all right." And so then I went before like the board, or it's like a court kind of thing, and made my case. I made it well enough that they allowed me to stay, and I had like 2 weeks of detention or something. Anyways, I go through the detention, and for the detention you basically just have to hang out in the main building, in the administration building, and there's an auditorium in there. There's a piano in the auditorium. So I would sneak off and play the piano. And I don't even think they cared. So last day of detention, right? I go through the whole thing, last day of detention. I didn't exactly get kicked out the way I said I did earlier. Sorry. I was going very fast at that point. Now we can slow down and get into the details. What are you doing? Okay, so I'm gonna have to kick this cat out. I don't know why it pisses me off so much, but it's like, just, can you stop playing with random things? Pretend it's a little girl. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so the last day of detention, I'm in the auditorium playing piano, and it's literally 5 p.m., which is when the detention ends. And what's his name? Mr. Bala. Cool guy. I'm not going to mention the names of the people I don't think were cool. He was cool. He comes in, he's like, can I talk to you for a minute? I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So we walk back to the room where I left my backpack. And he's like, oh, well, is this yours? I was like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, that's fine. And it's like, is there anything inside of it? I don't think so. Turns out, I had gone home for a Labor Day party at the Hardys for Labor Day earlier that year. In September. Well, earlier that year. I'm just talking now. I'm so tired. And I had left an empty beer bottle in my backpack. So he takes me in to the administration, or the office, or whatever. And he was like, is there anything else in your room that I should know about? And again, I lied. So I earned it, the amount of times I lied back then. False witness. I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just like, all right, we're gonna go search your room. And I remember walking back to the dorm. I texted my roommate Tyler, who got kicked out later that year, who at this time had a safe full of beer and weed. I think weed. And anyways, they found my room. Yeah, I got screwed, basically. Because in my hockey jacket, I had a cart. Like one of those weed carts. Except inside of the weed cart wasn't weed. It was dimethyltryptamine. Anyway, found that. And it's a little girl. I'm not annoyed at all. It's cute. But maybe you can go play outside. I know. Oh, come here. Come here. Good kid. Right. So, anyway. Oh. That's what happened there. And I kicked out. And I had already kind of devoted myself to music, but what happened was, at that point, I realized I had to do that, the music thing. So, I thought I was going to have to, because I had this model in my head of what had to happen, which was unknown artist goes to the big city and breaks. So I ran away from home like 3 times. I wasn't even that mad at my parents. I just had to like try to like find my way into the city. I had seen Bohemian Rhapsody, so I got a job as a baggage handler for an airline. It was kind of cool actually, but I got fired on the second day the first time for being late, and then the second time I just went through it and I was like, I got through like 2 weeks of training. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't do this. So, but the whole time I was developing and writing and playing and recording. It was very useful. And I got, it's like March or something, I just had this huge sort of, I fought for it, but I earned a huge sort of spiritual opening. And you do get diagnosed with bipolar if you go through that and you talk about it. Oh, that's all right. It's all right. And I sent to the hospital because God was talking to me, and in the modern age that's insane. Anyways, came home and I'm just on these horrible meds, but you know what happened though? I said I've still got to do the music. And recorded my first attempt at an album. It was just in voice memos, but I still have it. I have all my voice memos actually. And, but then I just kind of sank. And but there's a beautiful moment that summer. I went up to Maine, a family house in Maine. And I felt like someone was with me. And there's a song from that summer that stuck with me from that trip, called Lady Grinning Soul. It's a David Bowie song. And it's just odd that, and all of that turmoil and failure, and it wasn't failure though. I might have felt like it. You can't always trust your feelings. But there's a glimmer of hope that night. We drove home. Not alone. No matter what or who you've been, anyway, gonna end it here. The perfect ending. Amen. Can't give everything away, but you can give a lot away. I think I just did. It's not about who you are. It's about who you're going to become. So I'm tired of this, what do you see in me bullshit. I know what I see in you. I see what you're going to become. And maybe I even want you before you become that. Maybe I wish you felt the same about me. Nah. No. It's a two-way street whether the cars are driving or not. Shabbat Shalom. My work here is done.